So the one thing that I'd like to highlight is the theme of InSgen 303. It's been complexity and ambiguity. And I've actually read some really nice ROLs on people addressing this topic, and it feels like they've shown a really clear understanding of what we're trying to get at. Teams and people and interactions in teams are complex and ambiguous. Yeah? Project management and the goals of your project is complex and ambiguous. Sustainability is complex and ambiguous. Health and safety, as we've seen with the Greenfield Towers, might seem, the principle itself seems very obvious. But when we start adding up the fact that no one was thought they were responsible or knew they had to clean up the aluminium dust, no one considered that putting the cladding on the outside like that would cause a ventilation oxygenating all the way up to the top floor. All of these tiny little interactions and the ambiguities of not realizing how important they are make the world a really challenging place. It makes your ethical decisions amazingly challenging place. The theme of everything we've addressed in InSgen 303 has been complexity and ambiguity. And what we've been trying to teach you is basically courage in the face of adversity. A way to stop, to pause, and to think, how do I deal with this complexity and ambiguity? That was one of the reasons why I put those little videos of those robots up and discussed John Locke, is to suggest to you that while the world might feel daunting, that you don't know how to break through, you can look at the history of humanity and all of the technological advancement we came up to here, all of our cultural and historical advancement, all of the literature and art, that's all developed in the face of complexity and ambiguity. Humanity has slowly and progressively iterated to our point. So when you go out into your career, you will face a problem that someone hasn't solved before. In principle, maybe if you're lucky and you get to work on blue skies things, or in practice, where someone hasn't done that specific example and it's not entirely clear how to go about it. Yeah? You will need to stop and think, how do I break this large, daunting question up into small, manageable, bite-sized chunks? And every single thing that we've tried to discuss in InSgen 303 has led to that point. On ethics, it becomes a little more challenging. Do you guys reflect back to the CTV tower last year in 2004 when we discussed? One of the really important things about what Ray and Rob said about being willing to stand up and defend what you did is in engineering, defending what you did might have come 20 years later. Yeah? So it's really important for you to consider how you're going about it and document what you do. Part of the most important practice in ethics is being clear about why and how you are doing what you're doing and keeping stringent records. So when someone calls you up, like someone might call for the Greenfield Towers who designed the original block and asks, why in the 70s was it built, right? Why in the 70s did you only put one stairwell and you have to defend that? That's going to be really challenging, especially as culture is advanced, yeah? The norms of today are not the norms of the 70s when Greenfield Tower was built. You're going to have to defend your decision in an entirely different ethical environment. It's a really daunting task. And part of the most important thing is to know what you're about. That's when you look at the ethical principles for ENZ. Some of them are very explicit about don't do this, mind the work of your other people. The rest of it is this sort of nebulous, be this type of person, which is virtue ethics, right? Virtue ethics is about the type of person you need to be by embodying certain practices to become an individual. If you think about your entire engineering degree, it's a degree in how to become a type of person, the type of person which is an engineer, to think a particular way, to value precision and accuracy, to be prompt and on time, to be forthright. Yeah? The whole thing is teaching you about how to embody the type of individual that people are going to look to so they don't need to think about the building they walk into when they walk into the building. I go into buildings, I don't think about whether they're going to fall down or not because I implicitly trust the system that I work in and trust the engineers. And it's that trust that we're looking for when we're developing ethics. So those are the 2 points I wanted to make. I wanted to clear up the ethics and kind of really stress to you again the theme of InSgen 303, that is complexity and ambiguity, and how hopefully we've given you some ideas about how you can approach them in the future.